here, True Gamer Goggles.
Right.
Gamer-goggles.com. Yeah, I did that really slow. And I'm with Will Hungerford from Privateer Press. And we're going to talk about
Company of Iron.
Yes, and I'm actually super excited for this because that means I can probably play with everything I own again.
Yeah, just about everything. So, do you want me to tell them about Company of Iron and what it's all about?
Let's wait for them.
Oh.
The voice of God.
The disembodied voice of Origins is speaking to us?
Yes.
All right.
And now, tell them.
Yeah.
Everything.
So, Company of Iron, it's a new game we've got coming out in, it'll be later on this year. We don't have the exact date listed just yet, but it's probably going to be end of Q3. The idea is, if you're familiar with War Machine and Hordes definitely has grown from the old days of being just a battle box into, you can still start with a battle box, but very soon after you're going to be playing full-size armies versus full-size armies. And a certain playstyle we know is very popular and has an appeal that we wanted to explore more was true skirmish gaming. We're talking the soldier level with a handful of models, 9 to 12 versus another small, platoon, and the kind of gameplay that goes along with that. So it's not I go with all of my models, you go with all your models. It's I activate a single model, you activate a single model, and we go back and forth every round, meaning that every single decision you make is even more important than a game of War Machine. The games are super fast. It's like 30 minutes to play them. They play on smaller boards, so it's real kitchen table. It's 30 by 30 inches to play on it. So if you've got less play space, this is a good game. And more importantly, you use all the models from War Machine and Hordes. The box set that's coming out has 2 new models in it. We've got Agatha, Queen of Carnage, who's going to be coming out, and Lieutenant Gwen for Signar. These are fully playable in War Machine and Hordes, but they come in the Company of Iron box because, like I said, whether you've got Widowmakers, Shock Troopers, old Knight Exemplar, like we were talking about before we started recording, your models work in this game. You're going to build maybe a 20-point force. There's some limitations. You can't have any large base models or bigger because, as it turns out, a bunch of Cossite Woodsmen versus an Ironclad is not a fun fight.
Or cavalry.
Or cavalry. Yeah. Here's my
small base cavalry though.
Small base cavalry, which exists in the Grimkin, do work. No warcasters. You don't have to worry about the complexity of the spells and the feats. This is literally the platoons fighting the platoons. And for somebody who's been looking at War Machine and Hordes, and they're like, that is a really crunchy game, because War Machine and Hordes is a very deep tactical game. It's got a lot to it. Company of Iron is a great entry point because it does take one of those layers of complexity and moves it away. The warcasters and the warlocks and all that's involved in them. And now you're probably saying, well, without a warcaster or warlock, everybody knows the War Machine, you win the game by killing them. How do you win? Well, there's narrative scenarios packed in the box. Every game you play has to be one of these narrative scenarios. Typically an attacker versus a defender, somebody trying to maybe plant a bomb and someone else trying to stop it from going off. And so you are playing to scenario. There's model customization. You get to do things like make a unit or a model, maybe a Jack Marshal to bring along the medium-based Jack you have. Or in Hordes, we've added a Beast Commander. So you can have effectively a Hordes Jack Marshal for Beasts. So like I said, there's no large base models or bigger, but there are medium base models. So if you're playing Trolls as your Company of Iron and you want to bring along an Axer or an Impaler, you can give your commander the ability to control that model as if he was a Beast Jack Marshal and bring along that model in your force.
That made me think, is there only going to be one box set then?
Currently, there's just the one box set, and you'll notice that it's Hordes and War Machine in the same box set. Where all our other miniature games have always been War Machine 2-player starter, Hordes 2-player starter. These boxes. This is one of the first ones we've ever done that is a mix between Hordes and War Machine.
It's going to sell out.
It's going to be big, and there's a rule book in here because this uses a lot of the same rules of War Machine. Basically, the dice, how you attack, how you do damage, how you move. But the rule set is different. It has to accommodate a smaller size game, and there are changes that have occurred because of that. Unit coherency, because it doesn't really exist. How does somebody that has, for example, an ability that says everybody in their unit, while in formation, gets +1 to hit? Well, there's no formation anymore because every model activates as its individual piece. So the Company of Iron rules explain those slight conversions you do so that those units still won't lose their flavor when you break them down into almost solos. Right. Yeah. So it's coming out later this year. Probably expected somewhere between September and November. Box is it's going to be in the $70 to $80-ish range. I don't know if we've announced the price just yet, so you'll see it around there more than likely. And when it comes out, it's going to be hot. There's going to be a ton of people playing it, and people like yourself who may have not played a full game of War Machine and Hordes in a while. Now I know you still love the setting.
A while.
we talk about it all the time. Every time I see Matt at a show, we talk about miniatures and the stuff he used to have, and I know you've still got minis laying around. So
I got tons laying around.
You got tons laying around.
I've got all the starters for Hordes.
Yeah.
Well, all the last
set of starters. So I mean, the idea of taking a small a unit and a couple solos and throwing them on the board and having a quick 30-minute lunchtime game. It sounded like you liked it. Like it was appealing to you.
See, one of the other things that I find appealing to this is you can, like some people probably just play the role-playing game, right?
Oh yeah.
For you guys, you could easily take this game and turn it into a campaign game that's almost role-playing-esque.
Oh, there's so much I wanted, because there's going to be organized play for Company of Iron. So when
scenarios. I mean, you could just have total month-long scenarios, 2-month-long scenarios.
So whenever you see that logo, whenever you see Company of Iron in the future, we're going to have organized play that will support that. Things, and this is not a promise that's happening, but things I want to do is I would love to build a campaign, even if I do it for my friends at home, that plays through the levels, because we've said that Unbound is coming out in a future no quarter, which is the way that you play with 150 points with 3 warcasters per side on a 6-foot table. And I would love to see a map progression campaign that starts at Company of Iron. Then the effects of what you do in Company of Iron affects a normal game, and then the winners and losers and effects of the normal game affect an Unbound game, and build that escalation up. I got stuff cooking in my brain I want to see, but look for some really fun support coming out for Company of Iron. And then every model that ever comes out for War Machine and Hordes, if you only ever play Company of Iron, as long as it's not large base or bigger, you have a new model to play with.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Anything else you want to add or talk about?
No, just look for more news. I mean, we just announced it at this show.
Literally.
Just announced it. Matt has actually gotten more info out of me just now than I think we said in the full package. So we're going to have a lot more to say on it. There's a lot more coming. So if this interests you, just keep an eye out on all the various review sites, on sites like Matt's Gamer Goggles, and of course on privateerpress.com and our social media to learn more about Company of Iron as it comes out.
Yeah, and obviously, it's Privateer Press models, so you know how they go together. Piece of cake.
Yep.
Mostly.
So.
Mostly. All right. Bye, guys. Did you just sneeze?
I did. No, I snickered.
He snickered. He snickered at you. That means he's going to tell me secrets after we stop.
Tons.
Bye, guys.
Bye.